Hey guys, this is Oracle Daphne. My name is Beth, and I'm back to record another special video. This one is again channeling my dad, Karl Olson, who passed in 2020, and this is using this piece of a t-shirt, this John Deere t-shirt, that kind of just gives me kind of like this background, and I'm recording this on August 3rd, 2025. So this, you're going to be able to see the difference in the videos that I've recorded previously. I laid out the charms. This is a charm reading. So I've laid out the charms, and I will be connecting with my dad, Karl Olson. Before I begin, I do want to say a big thank you to my team of people who have helped me tremendously in donating and being amazing, supportive fans and followers. I just want to say a big thank you just to everybody on YouTube for supporting my work and supporting my journey as a person. I really appreciate it. I am still doing private readings. I wasn't anticipating doing private readings in August, but I am still doing private readings and they are open. So if you'd like to book, you can book. You can just send $100 through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I prefer PayPal or Cash App. And I do accept donations through Zelle, but I don't accept payments for readings through Zelle. So it's best if people send the payment for readings through PayPal or Cash App right now. And it's $100 for 30 minutes. And I'd love to get you scheduled if you've never had a reading with me before. I don't typically do charms when I do the reading, but I do look at the tarot and read from my book, and it's very interesting and always exciting and different with every client. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to see what we get here. I've already laid out the charms to kind of organize them. I think I want to talk about, there's this like little bag that I stuck in my charm bag of crabapple seeds. And the interesting thing is, my dad loved to garden. He loved his orchard. Oh my gosh. And he loved to experiment with planting trees, and just he had, growing up there was an extensive fruit and nut tree selection of projects that he was working on, trees that he was looking after, and he did so much with trees, and he had a strong connection to trees. Some of you may have a connection to trees, but to me this is especially fortunate because the crabapple to me, or the apple tree, is significant. It's interesting. I remember back in just before I started my YouTube channel, I was like, I need to try to do something different because I'm constantly worried about money. And I was like, I need to, do a side hustle or try to work on my prosperity levels, my abundance levels. And I don't know where I saw this, but like, I just was like, I think I read it somewhere, maybe in one of my books. I had gotten my trees oracle maybe at that time, and it said that to plant apple trees was going to increase prosperity. So I planted like a whole bunch of apple trees, and I seeded them in on my porch, and lo and behold, my YouTube channel sprang up, and I've been so blessed with so many really interesting people that I've met, and so much support through the people that I've met through YouTube, and in general, just been an interesting and wild ride. But that's how it kind of happened. And so for some of you, to increase your financial prosperity, my suggestion would be to plant some apple seeds or plant some apple trees. I also recommend, and the irony is that I have actually the whole series of my Apple Oracle card series posted on this channel. So you can check out that. It's a scroll and stop series where basically you kind of have to scroll and then stop on a video. But it's all about basically yeah, it's based on the whole concept of having one spot and basically having a lot of apples, having a lot of readings, and like having variation. So it's sort of interesting to me, like the metaphor of the apple tree here is here for you. It's for some of you, you're going to have multiple sources of income. That's what I'm seeing. I also feel like your creativity is going to really amp up at this time. You're going to like have a huge increase in creativity, whether it's stuff that you make or stuff that you decide to do projects on, or whether it's just ideas that you get. I strongly recommend getting a notebook and writing things down. That's one thing is funny. My dad, he did not really stay organized as well as he could have. Okay, he needed to write more things down, and he really didn't. And so if you want to take a page out of my dad's book, keep a journal, but really get organized as far as like your side hustle and your projects, and maybe write down, okay, what kind of projects you're working on, and really fine tune like what you want to have happen with each of those projects. It's interesting. The whole thing about the apples, it's just like my Apple Oracle card series in particular was interesting because it happened like almost immediately, where I got all these ideas from that one card. So like from one tree, you get all of these apples. From one source, maybe, you're going to get a lot of blessings. For some of you, you might have a lot of money come from one specific source. And I don't know. To me, it's good luck as well to for this to come out today. Very, very good luck. I also see for some of you doing some cooking with like old world food. The crabapple tree is very old world. It's been around for a really long time. It's got a lot of folklore and it's got a lot of romanticism. To me, it's very romantic. Like, this is spending, my dad spent a lot of quality time with the people in his life. And so some of you may be sort of reviewing like what, is quality time for you in a relationship, how much quality time you're spending with a partner, how much time you're spending on romance and dating and going out to eat and, spending time with a person. He used to take long walks with me and show me the apple trees, and talk to me about what he was growing. And some of you might be just taking walks with, you need to take like a walk with a partner and just like try to reconnect, or maybe spend some, schedule in some quality time to just go outside and just, if you live in the city, maybe walk around the neighborhood. At the least. But to me, it has an element of romance. I'm also getting this interesting vibe of like, it feels like almost like Robin Hood kind of energy. Like, old world, definitely includes the fairies, like someplace maybe in the UK or in Ireland. It feels like kind of like an old growth forest kind of energy. It's just an interesting vibe that I'm getting from it. So for some of you, like, you might be, I don't know, really into or being really creative with some of those concepts, like the Robin Hood concept is a concept that I've thought about doing readings for on my channel. But it's just more of like a vibe. For some of you, you might be, I don't know, romanticizing your life. It feels a little bit like cottagecore, or just really doing a lot of things, maybe what you might call slow living, or you might be doing things like homesteading, and maybe for some of you are planting a garden and you're planting an orchard and you're doing a lot of old world type things. Maybe you're baking your own bread, and it's very old world, the kind of lifestyle that you have, or the lifestyle that you're going to be focusing on. For some of you, it's definitely off grid, and for some of you, it's just more, I don't know, very romantic kind of vibe. The Robin Hood vibe is very romantic to me. I don't know. It's a little bit Tristan and Isolde as well. So I think like for some of you, you might be rethinking what romance is, or kind of just looking at some of those concepts. There is so much here, and I'm going to run out of time, so I have to move on to some of these other things that are just coming through. I want to address kind of the elephant in the room, which is this tomahawk here, which is arguments and conflict of some sort, which is going to bring a lot of tears. I see a lot of tears with any kind of conflict or arguments. The thing about it is that my dad, his temper would really flare up when it flared up. So some of you might feel like your temper at this time might flare up more than usual. And then it's going to be followed by a lot of tears or a lot of upset. You might be more abrasive at this time as well. I don't necessarily feel like you're going to have a lot of conflict. This might be conflict around you because, again, it's a periphery kind of energy. It's on the edge of this piece of cloth here. So I think for some of you, you might see more arguments maybe in the area that you live, or just tension and conflict around you for some regard. Like it might not have to do with you, might have to do with other people. I definitely feel like though if you do like have a flare up with your temper, or are more abrasive with someone, it's going to be followed by some upset and some tears. I definitely see that. So I would probably tell you to try to leave the area that is where the conflict is. I definitely feel like leaving the area is necessary. My dad used to, and it's something that's interesting, my dad used to walk out of the house. He'd leave the room if his temper flared up. And I think he did that kind of to protect everybody, because his temper was kind of really strong. He was a fire sign. So some of you, that the fire element is coming through very strongly. We are in Leo season. So I'm not surprised that, Leos can have a very strong, passionate, fiery side. So I definitely see that. I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Okay, so that's one of the things I see for that energy. I'm also seeing some of you feeling hurt by, I would say, a player type person, a person who has multiple partners, person who's not serious about relationships. I feel like for some of you, I feel like there's some serious wrongdoing through or by someone who you consider to be a player. We have the wing here, the broken wing here, with this mitt, this baseball mitt, and I see it as being hurt by someone who's played you. Now, here's the thing about my dad. He was very strong about his religious viewpoints, and for some of you, it might be this kind of an interesting message. You might actually be very strong about, like, for instance, like saying like no sex before marriage, or like, for instance, like deciding, okay, you want to wait until you sleep with somebody for a certain period of time to get to know them. I see some of you becoming really cautious about how you approach relationships. I think the message is, you kind of maybe doing things like an old school kind of way, where the expectation is to go out on dates and to have a certain level of chivalry. Going back to that Robin Hood, there's like a chivalry here that's coming through. For some of you, like, you might, if you're a masculine, I definitely feel like you're going to be really in a strong, I want to say masculine mode of like being like the provider, being somebody who's like, supporting a feminine, maybe paying for meals, opening doors, just like being very chivalrous with the relationship with the person that you're interested in, or with a partner. For some of you, you might have a renewed interest, let's just say, in a person in which you hurt in the past. So masculines, I definitely feel like some of you are going to be rethinking like a relationship in which you really hurt somebody, and maybe going back and really doing a little bit of a crawl is what I see, like kind of like a crawl, maybe jumping through. I see the deer here jumping, maybe jumping through some hoops to try to win her back. That's what I see. Or like really being like, okay, I have to fix this. I'm going to go above and beyond, doing some major heavy lifting as far as like putting in work to heal things, to fix things. That's what I see here. For some of you, I feel like you might be really over or not over someone hurting you that really didn't take you seriously. I feel like the level of seriousness here is going to really amp up. My dad was a really serious, like when it came to everything in his life, he was very serious about things. I mean, he was a physician. So like for some of you, you're going to be taking things in life more seriously. There's like a growth curve here. My dad was very like, by the book, you do things by the book, you work hard and you make your money and you go to school and you get an education, and just very like, there is no skipping steps. I feel like some of you might have skipped some things, or not really taken things as seriously in your life as maybe this period of time. For some of you, you're going to be going into a phase where you're taking things more seriously. You're really like, maybe some of you going back to school, getting an advanced degree. For some of you, you're deciding, okay, you want to go to law school. You want to become a physician. You want to like really amp up your game somehow. For some of you, this is a business expansion as well. Doing more for your business or your business expanding. My dad, had a very long career. So this is like doing very well in business. I see a lot of business improvements for those of you who are in business. I see business improving tremendously. I kind of feel like it's going to come out of nowhere too. Like it's kind of going to seem like it's coming out of the blue. We have the blue of these seashell drops and the blue of the bluebird, and it's just kind of like falling into your lap. For some of you, like there may be an opportunity that falls into your lap, or just like more financial increase through a business is what I see. I want to talk about some of the harder elements. We have this pearl here, which is right next to the starfish, and it's interesting because they're both sea elements, and the pearl is really an element of grit in your attitude or your approach to things, where you might come across to other people as more harsh than they're expecting you to be. Like my dad, okay, like we're looking at my dad did not mess around. Like if he like went and he told somebody something, they listened to him, like they would respect him. So like for some of you, you might not have had a lot of respect in the past, and like, but like going into this period of time, the things that you say to other people are going to hit them very like close to home. Like you're going to have a very strong articulation with the way you speak and the way you talk and the way you approach things. And it's like, you're not going to mess around. And the grit used to be kind of like, or the pearl used to be one of my least favorite charms, because it represented me having to do things like, it used to be like twice as hard, or twice as much. And you might be going through a period of time where you're going to have to put a lot of effort, twice as much effort, to get something, to do something, to have something come through when it should have come through. It's like my dad, so funny. I was about to say it's like pulling a molar tooth, and here I am channeling my dad, and my dad is a dentist. So I mean, like some of you, to get the things done, to get things done the right way, you might need to really work hard at it. However, I will say that the interesting part about this is that my dad was very respected, and I'm picking up that during this period of time, and we have the starfish here, I feel like you're really going to be kind of laying down the law, or like for other people in your life, and just being like, hey, this is how it is. And if you don't like it, tough shit. And really, I don't necessarily feel like I feel like you're going to have to work hard, but I don't necessarily feel like it's going to fall on deaf ears. I feel like you're like, when you do get through to someone, you are going to rip them a new one, okay? And you're going to really let them know where they effed up and what they need to do better. And it's going to be really shocking to some people. Because my dad, when he really laid it down for people, I mean, it was just very, very strong. And he always covered his ass. So here's the other thing too. You're going to have help. With the starfish here, it actually, to me, softens and modifies this pearl in the sense that you're going to have help to get through whatever tough stuff that you have to get through. But I also feel like with the starfish, it's a blessing of some kind. You have star beings. You're going to have friends in high places. You're going to have friends that come through for you, and you're going to have some blessing that comes through, like putting in a lot of hard work. That's what I want to say. And I feel like it's going to be a big blessing that comes through hard work or something that you've had to work at several times is what I see. We have the miracle charm showing up here. So there's going to be some miracle that comes through for you. I'm not sure how. When things went right, for my dad, he would consider that kind of to be a miracle. So I feel like maybe there's going to be something that goes right or that goes through, and you're going to be like, wow, that was actually a miracle. I didn't expect that to happen or that person to really do that for me. But somehow something's going to come through that's going to be, I want to say easy, that comes with ease or grace, or just like something that comes in a miraculous kind of way where you weren't expecting it to come through. I also have to say, we have this bluebird here, and the bluebird to me represents hope after a time of grief. And it's very fascinating. I was watching this Grey's Anatomy clip where she was talking about how after year 2 it gets easier. And so I think the message here is, for some of you, those of you who are really struggling with grief, I want you to know that it's going to get easier in some regard, even if it's not easy right now. And I think that's a positive message and a message of hope. And I think my dad would agree. It takes time. My dad was very patient. But things took time with him. And so for some of you, things are going to take time. Time to get over something, time to heal from something, and time to regain your sense of hope or optimism in your life. Okay, I think I'm going to leave off here. It's such a colorful spread that I almost don't want to leave it, but I appreciate all the love and support. I send everyone big hugs, big kisses, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Take care. Bye, guys.